Move.
Black
Let's
cop
go. Keep
framed for
moving.
murder. His return was brutal. The night
You're
was
hurting
wet
me. I can't
and
walk like
heavy
this.
with the smell of gunpowder. Officer Malik Carter never forgot that sound. The single gunshot that changed his life forever. It echoed through the alley like thunder, sharp and final. One moment he was chasing suspects through the rain-slick streets, heart pounding as his flashlight cut through the dark. The next he stumbled upon Senator Reed, lying face down in a pool of blood, crimson mixing with the puddles. Malik's own service weapon was on the ground beside the body, smoke curling from the barrel. He froze, too shocked to move. Then came the shouting, boots pounding, flashlights flaring. Gun down, hands up. The other officers surrounded him. Malik tried to speak, to explain what had happened, but his voice broke against their suspicion. "I didn't do this," he shouted, panic clawing at his chest. But his partner, Officer Tom Riley, just stared at him with cold, empty eyes. "You're done, Malik," he said quietly, almost like it was a favor. Then the cuffs snapped around Malik's wrists. At the trial, the story they told was clean and simple. Too clean. They said Malik lost control during a raid. They said he shot the senator in a rage. Evidence appeared like magic. Fingerprints, ballistics, even a fake witness. The jury barely looked at him. 10 years. 10 long years for a crime he didn't commit. Prison taught Malik how to survive in silence. He stopped trusting words. He watched. He remembered faces. The chief of police, the senator's partners in crime, the officers who smirked when he was taken away. He spent his nights reading law books, training his body, sharpening his mind. Rage turned into focus. When the steel door finally opened a decade later, Malik stepped out into the cold sunlight. The city looked shinier. New buildings, new cars, but underneath, he could still feel the rot. Corruption didn't die. It just learned to hide better. He took a deep breath, feeling the air burn his lungs, and smiled a little. They thought they buried him in that cell. They thought the system broke him, but all they did was give him time to plan. Malik Carter wasn't just walking free. He was coming back. A storm, ready to clean the streets that betrayed him. Malik returned to his old neighborhood under a gray, restless sky. The streets were familiar, but colder, stripped of the warmth he remembered. The kids playing on the corners didn't know his name anymore, but the old folks sitting on their porches did. They watched him with weary eyes, whispering, "That's the cop who went to jail." Malik didn't respond. He had no words left for gossip or pity. His silence had become his armor, sharp, heavy, and unbreakable. He found work at a small car repair shop owned by an old friend who didn't ask questions. It wasn't much, but it gave him cover and time to think. During the day, he fixed engines and stayed quiet. At night, he walked the same streets he once patrolled, boots steady against the cracked pavement. The same drug corners still thrived, the same men still ruled the blocks, and the same kind of fear still lived in people's eyes, only now, Malik wasn't wearing a badge. He was wearing purpose. Then he saw it. Tom Riley was now a detective. The man who had betrayed him had been rewarded, climbing higher in the very system he'd poisoned.
The chief had also risen in rank. The city had turned corruption into a ladder, and the guilty were still climbing. One rainy night, Malik spotted 2 officers beating a teenage boy behind a bar. He recognized one of them instantly. Officer Grant, the man who'd lied under oath to seal his fate. Malik's jaw tightened without thinking. He stepped out of the shadows. The fight lasted seconds. 2 groaning bodies hit the ground and the boy stumbled away, terrified but free. Malik disappeared before the flashing lights came. By morning, the story had already spread. People began whispering about a ghost, a man cleaning the streets when no one else would. Crooked cops started vanishing from their posts. Some were dragged out by internal affairs. Others exposed in viral leaks. Malik's name was never mentioned, but everyone could feel his presence in the silence that followed each downfall. Still, Malik wasn't chasing revenge anymore. He was chasing something deeper, the truth. The lies that ruined him were bigger than one man, and to expose them, he would have to face the person who started it all, Detective Tom Riley. Malik found his old partner at a high-end bar in the heart of the city, the kind of place where dirty money pretended to be clean. Soft jazz played in the background. Glasses clinked and laughter floated through the smoke-filled air. Riley sat at a corner table, expensive suit, gold watch, and a face that had seen too many deals made in the dark. He looked older, heavier, but his eyes still carried that same smug glint Malik remembered from the night he was framed. When Malik
Out the chair and sat across from him, Riley froze mid-sip. His hand trembled slightly before he set the glass down. For a long, breathless moment, neither man spoke. The silence between them was thick with 10 years of betrayal. Finally, Riley broke it. "You should be in a grave," he said, voice low, almost a whisper. Malik's lips curved into a cold smile. "You first." What followed wasn't a fight. It was a confession. Malik had come prepared. Hidden in his jacket pocket was a recorder, capturing every word. He didn't threaten or shout. He just listened as guilt began to rot through Riley's defenses. One drink turned into 3, and the lies started to crumble. Piece by piece, Riley spilled everything. The senator's death wasn't planned. It happened during a drug deal that went sideways. The chief needed a scapegoat to keep the city quiet. Malik, the only honest man and the only black officer in the unit, was the perfect target. Riley's voice broke when he said it, but Malik didn't flinch. The truth hurt, but it also healed. By morning, Riley's confession was everywhere. Someone leaked the footage. Malik didn't need to. The city went wild. The chief called it fake. Politicians screamed denial, but people weren't fooled this time. Reporters dug into old cases. Victims started coming forward. The system began to shake under the weight of its own lies. But Malik knew it wasn't over. Power never falls quietly. When he left Riley's apartment that night, the street was too still. Then, tires screeched. Bullets shattered the silence, sparks lighting the dark. Malik dropped behind a wall, heart pounding as gunfire echoed through the alley. The war wasn't finished. It had only just begun. The final storm came 2 weeks later, carried by a silence that felt heavier than thunder. Malik had spent days gathering everything: proof, names, recordings, secret files pulled from old hard drives. Every lie was ready to burn. He sent it all to the press and watched the city tremble under the weight of truth. But one man still stood above it all: Chief Donovan, the puppet master who had pulled every string. Malik knew it had to end with him. That night, the old police station sat in darkness. The once busy halls were quiet, echoing with ghosts of loyalty and betrayal. Malik moved through the shadows like smoke, each step measured, each breath steady. He found Donovan in his office, stuffing files into a briefcase, sweat glistening on his forehead. The man who once commanded fear now looked like a cornered rat. "You ruined a good man," Malik said, voice low and calm. "You ruined a city." Donovan turned, eyes wide. "Carter," he stammered, reaching for his gun. But Malik had learned patience in prison. He moved first, swift, controlled. The gun clattered to the floor before Donovan could even aim. Malik pressed him into the chair, metal cuffs snapping shut around his wrists. Then came the final act. Malik placed the recorder on the table and pressed play. He didn't have to threaten or shout. The silence did the work. Donovan's mask cracked. His words came out trembling at first, then spilling faster. Names, amounts, backroom deals, the frame-up that destroyed Malik's life. The confession was ugly, raw, and real. By morning, the city was alive with sirens and flashing lights. News anchors shouted headlines, reporters
swarmed the precinct, and the people finally saw what had been hiding behind their badge of justice. From a nearby rooftop, Malik watched it unfold. The same emblem that once betrayed him now glimmered again, tarnished but shining a little cleaner. He didn't stay for praise or cameras. As dawn broke, Malik turned and walked away, the rising sun painting gold over the city's broken skyline. Justice wasn't perfect. It never had been. But for the first time in 10 long years, Malik Carter could finally breathe. And deep inside, the man who had lost everything found a quiet kind of peace, not in vengeance, but in forgiving himself.
Did that story grab your attention? Hit that like button right now to show your support for more hard-hitting justice thrillers like this one. At True Crime Files TV, we deliver powerful voice-only narratives that keep you engaged. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing, our signature storytelling style brings you into intense moments of injustice and the satisfying path to accountability. Subscribe to never miss our weekly uploads featuring gripping justice thrillers, stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges, and powerful narratives with unexpected twists. With premium voice-only content, it's perfect for multitasking. Turn on notifications so you'll know immediately when we drop our next story. Your support helps us create more content that matters. True Crime Files TV, where justice speaks volumes.
Move! Let's go! Keep moving! You're hurting me. I can't walk like this.